Right here on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind coming out of the west-northwest around 14 miles per hour and a high of 77. Tonight, look for a gentle breeze and clear skies with a temperature near 58. Tomorrow, a high around 73 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, hot with a high of 77 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch thousands of movies on demand, all for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPN NW.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN North Florida.
Broadcasting from the Plus Studios. It's the Inside Drive. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat.
the Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Tuesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here inside the Golf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can watch, listen, like, comment, subscribe, share as we are back on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is follow us, search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also download our free mobile app so you can listen to us anywhere. That is inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one, all you got to do is search 104.3. And, of course, you can always head over to ESPNPC.com. You can listen live there. But while you're there, you got to sign up for Scorpion TV. $41.99 a month with code ESPNNW. That is guaranteed to be cheaper than whatever streaming services you're paying for right now. Everybody keeps going up. Scorpion TV, they just change names, but they keep that price right there at $41.99 a month. Over 2,000 channels on demand. You would be able to watch all the pay-per-view fights from this past weekend, all your MLB, NHL, NBA, when football gets back going again, all those that you have to pay for the additional subscriptions are all included there with Scorpion TV. And, of course, if you're a big movie buff, you can also watch over 10,000 movies on demand. David Hayes, how are we doing today?
Oh, man, doing wonderful. In fact, I was going to say, if someone can watch all 10,000 movies that are on there, or whatever it may be, we will hook you up with a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock.
There you go. All you got to do is prove to us that, you've watched over 10,000. That would take a long time. Average movie, probably, hour and a half, hour, 40 minutes, something like that?
Average, yeah.
Yeah.
Depends.
Obviously,
if you're watching rom-coms, you're probably around that hour and a half. If you're watching documentaries, maybe an hour and 45. If you're watching serious movies with heroes, then I'm probably 2 hours.
Yep, absolutely. And if you watch movies like Titanic and Avatar, it might be closer to 2.5, 3 hours, and get a lot of information in those movies. But again, that is Scorpion TV. You can find that link on our homepage at ESPNPC.com. Code ESPNNW gets you that $41.99 a month. Several listeners have already signed up to it, and I've heard nothing but fantastic things. Of course, if you're streaming already, you've got good internet speed, but that is a prereq when it comes to streaming stuff, is having a good internet speed. That is for sure. And then also you can, make sure you're paying attention. If you coach the James Hale Show this morning, that could work too. But if you text the Coach James Hale Show this morning when you heard the keyword of the day, make sure you're listening to the Inside Drive right around that 12:40 time frame. And, of course, the Afternoon Underdogs right at 5:40 as well. If we announce your racing name, how quickly you call us back is your qualifying time. Not only are we giving away one pair of tickets to the Jack Links 500 on Sunday, in addition to the Xfinity Series Ag Pro 300 and the ARCA Menard Series General Tire 200. We're giving 2 pairs of tickets away. So if you didn't get the fastest one, or you're worried about not being able to beat that great time by Jackson State Jeff, don't worry, because you have another opportunity. Again, we had someone on the Afternoon Underdogs 5 seconds yesterday. Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Good. So we do have 2 decent, one's really good, and then 5 seconds is pretty impressive too.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's a great trip up there. You don't want to miss out on this opportunity. We appreciate PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Buffalo Rock, Hampton Inn on Thomas, as well as Home 2 Suites for sponsoring this Race to Talladega. We do this, twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall?
I believe so, yeah.
We've been doing it pretty much since I've been here, so always enjoy the old Race to Talladega. We had a great racing name yesterday, but never got the phone call back in. So make sure you're paying attention, 1240 and 540. If you hear your racing name, just give us a call, 850-215-6290. I'm going to start with some Masters fun facts.
Are you sure that you sent me a video on Instagram?
It's the third slide or whatever you call it.
Okay. It's not doing anything, though. So.
No, I can read the quote if need be, but I've got some other fun facts to get through as well. So the Masters winner, as we all know, we talked about it at length yesterday, Rory McIlroy got himself a custom-fit green jacket, a record $4.2 million in prize money, although about half of that will go to the government in taxes. An honorary membership to Augusta National, a gold medal, and a replica Masters trophy, a lifetime invitation to the Masters, a locker in the Champions locker room, access to members-only driving range, and an annual invitation to the Champions dinner.
Members-only tournament practice facility.
The TPC, yes. Joe Pompliano did not put the correct term on there as well, but the members-only driving range isn't the same as the tournament practice facility. It's the original tournament practice facility, but it's the one that's got the net facing Washington Road, and it's a little short, so, a lot of the guys don't don't use it. I don't know if the tournament practice facility is open to members. I would be surprised if it is. I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head. Let's talk a little Masters merchandise. So the Masters will do about $70 million did about $70 million in merchandise sales last week alone. If you break that down by day, hour, minute, and second, $10 million a day, $1 million an hour, $16,000 a minute, and $277 every second. That's a lot of work for those cashiers there in the merchandise pavilion. The largest unconfirmed single purchase ever was $36,000 in 2022 per Golf Digest. I'm guessing that was somebody from overseas, and they were buying a lot of stuff to send back over, because they can sell it for a lot more money over there, even though Augusta's not really too happy about that. But that's just the way it works. So that was pretty impressive. It's $277 a second they're selling in merchandise. That's just, that is wild stuff. Wild stuff indeed. I did want to mention, too, what happened to Ludwig Aubert, who made a triple bogey on the 72nd hole. Cost him $515,000, that triple bogey. Obviously these guys are playing for a lot of money, but regardless of how much you have, that's a pretty tough pill to swallow.
It is, and you try better next time, I guess. He did finish second last year, right?
Yeah, he finished
runner-up.
Yeah,
so.
And that was his first ever Masters. So really, I think he ended up finishing tied for seventh this year. So for your first two Masters, kind of going against the normal grain for first time and young Masters players. But Ludwig's just a different type of golfer. Obviously, that $515K would have been better in his bank account, but you know what? I think he's going to be just fine. Talking about viewership on Sunday, the Masters final round on Sunday was the most watched golf telecast in 7 years, with 12.7 viewers, and viewership was up 33% from last year and peaked at 19.543 million viewers. So some crazy good numbers coming out of the Sunday final round, which you kind of expected. It was headlined by Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau. And if we remember last year, everybody kind of fell apart a little bit, and Scotty cruised to a Masters victory. All right, David, one more fun fact, then I'll let you play. Just a really cool quote from Rory talking about what his caddy said when they were finishing up on 18 before the playoff. But I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but back in the day, fans used to race to get the winner's golf ball after a Masters win, or really any major championship win. And it was pretty wild. Everybody just kind of sitting there on go. Once that ball's holed, they all run out there and try to get that winner's ball. Obviously, that is not something they do anymore, but a pretty cool older tradition in the game of golf. All right. Just to give some context, this is when Rory McIlroy finished up in regulation after missing that putt to win the career Grand Slam. His caddy had some pretty cool words for him, David.
Harry grew up together in a tiny town, playing childhood games together. What does it feel like to have him standing beside you today when you achieved that childhood dream?
Amen. Yeah, I've known Harry since I was 7 years old. I met him on the putting green at Hollywood Golf Club. We've had so many good times together. He's been like a big brother to me the whole way through my life, and to be able to share this with him after all the close calls that we've had, all the crap that he's had to take from people that don't know anything about the game. This one is, just as much his as it is mine.
Rory, you and Harry grew up together in a tiny...
Ooh, that wasn't... Maybe I messed that up, David. I know we were trying to get it queued up there, but I got the quote that I was trying to get there. Obviously, Rory, very emotional, kind of going through that. Let me see where I put it. All right, so this is what his caddy, Harry Diamond, had said after he missed that putt again to win the career Grand Slam after one of the most dramatic final rounds in recent major history. Obviously, we know he went on to win in the playoff, but He asked how he did so. McIlroy said, after scoring, Harry and I were walking to the golf cart to bring us back to the 18th. He said to me, well, pal, we would have taken this on Monday morning. I'm like, yeah, absolutely we would have. That was an easy reset, because the reporters were asking Rory how he reset from such a crushing moment to now having to go back and try to, get it all together and win it. But he said, yeah, absolutely would have. That was an easy reset. He said, basically, you would have given your right arm to be in a playoff at the start of this week. That sort of reframed it a little bit for me. I just kept telling myself, just make the same swing you made in regulation, and I hit a great drive up there, and the rest is history. So obviously we talk about the caddy-player relationship quite a bit here on the Inside Drive, but what a great job by Harry in that one. I mean, because it's a perfect way to kind of get over what just happened, because you are still in a situation, to win the career Grand Slam and make that happen. So I just thought that was really cool from Harry Diamond, saying what exactly needed to be said to get your golfer right back in the right frame of mind after such a devastating moment. And, so just cool stuff, kind of some behind-the-scenes action there when it comes to what we don't know and don't hear while we're watching the broadcast. Kind of pivoting from the Masters action, former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava threatened to sit out the Vols' first-round college football play. Some more information is kind of coming out about the wildness of what this NIL has done to college football. He threatened to sit out the college football playoff game last season against Ohio State, according to 24/7 sports writer Josh Pate, who claims he wasn't the only player to do so. He was just the main guy kind of doing that. Obviously now he's the top-rated player in the transfer portal, even though I don't know if you'd want a guy like that, regardless of his talent, with the character he has. But he parted ways with Tennessee's after the Vols decided not to meet his NIL expectations. Cats like Nico almost held out of the playoff games because they were trying to renegotiate contracts in the middle of a playoff run. Pate said in Sunday's Josh Pate's college football show, he wasn't the only one, but just understand all these people who cannot take a you-know-what without getting in front of their pants. That was a terrible quote, but anyway, I'm going to skip right through that. I was reading it ahead of while I was actually reading it. But yes, who are some of the players that wanted new deals before playing a quote-unquote extra game in the postseason at the end of the regular season? Pate did not offer specific names during this segment, other than mentioning negotiations did take place. This stuff was happening last December during the playoffs, with this kid included. But it's not just the kid, Pate said. They're trying to get more money from Tennessee and other playoff teams before the playoffs. They were trying to leverage playoff participation. Possible transfer destinations and schools that made the most sense for Iamaleava were a California native. Our program's in need of elite level talent at the position, with the funds to make it happen after spring practice. With the reporting asking price of $4 million, he and his 19 touchdown passes last season comes with a price. He is not eligible to transfer to the SEC. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, but these kids are getting way too big for their britches.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it right there. I think Jay would have really appreciated that little cliche right there, brother.
That's a Beth Mulvey quote. If I've heard it a few times, I've heard it a lot of times. So, but yeah, I mean, the fact that you're considering playoff games as extra games and you should be paid more, that's just absolutely stunning to me. I mean, isn't the goal when you're playing football to win whatever championship you have the opportunity to win?
I would think so. I mean, but also
seems like a stupid question.
It is a stupid question, but there is that. It isn't the goal in the world of employee life. Like when you're going to college, are you just trying to get? Well, what's your goal when you're going to college? What's your goal?
It used to be to get an education.
Okay, all right. Why are you getting the education though? Let's be honest though. Let's be honest. Athlete. Like no. I'm talking about us as individuals. When we're going through life, especially when we're young and we're going to that next level. The next level is I believe the majority of us are going to these universities, going to these places in order to better ourselves. But why are we bettering ourselves? If there was no collision with if I go and get my degree, I'll be able to make more money. My papa never said, go to college because it's going to make you a better person.
It's a huge misconception.
No, it's because he doesn't want me to have to go through the same footsteps that he did, because he knows that if you make a little bit more money, then you'll be able to set yourself up a little bit better. The problem is then now we're coinciding money with happiness and money with what life matters, because I know there was a difference in the way that people, when you're 60 years old and the difference in when you're 80 years old. 60 years old, you're still kind of like, you need money, all that. 80 years old, it's like the only thing that matters, what I'm thinking about right now, is the people who are around me.
Yep.
And so I can't blame young Nico right here, especially when he's got family, uncle, dad, everyone in his ear. You know, but it's one of those things. We kid ourselves if take ourselves back to 18 years old or 17 years old when we're in high school. We kid ourselves. If we had this opportunity, what would we be doing? Especially if the landscape provides itself for it to be to this level. Now, yes, we can sit here and point fingers at what's right and what's wrong and all of that good stuff. And yes, it bothers us, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, this is what this is what people go to. Half of the kids, let me not say that, top 25% of kids who go to Division I college football, Power 4 conference, have an idea in their head that they're going to the NFL.
Yeah.
At that point right there, you already know that money is going to be a factor. Now, here's the difference. Yeah. Some people have to work and pay the dues and climb the ladder to be able to get to that echelon, to that tier. Then some people just are able to make it. Here we have them in college football where, hey, we'll pay you essentially to play the game. And it stinks that it's like that, but we have set this up. Not we as, me and you necessarily, but just the landscape and where we're at. So it stinks that we got to blame him. You have to give kudos to Tennessee here, but at the end of the day, everyone goes to college for the same reason. It's not because, I want to be specialized in this. Like, no one, I think that maybe in the world of healthcare, but I'm even skeptical about that people, get into healthcare because they care about people. No, they want to be able to make the 55, 65, 75,000 rather than making the 25, 30, 35,000.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just am very fearful that we're getting away from why we play the game, and that's competition and winning and, getting better. And obviously I understand the opportunities that they have, especially a lot of the people that get to this level, they don't come from the same socioeconomic background, and it's an opportunity to have life-changing money. But it's such a fine line between, getting money and getting more money for your talents and losing the love of the game, I guess, is what I'm disappointed.
I'm right there with you, and it does feel like it's not for the love of the game. The kids who are playing in the UFL, you 100% know that they're playing for the love of the game, which is what college football used to feel like.
Yeah.
And my thing is what's the difference in $2.5 and $4 million?
Yeah.
There's a large there is that, but it's more or less how much more you're going to be paying Uncle Sam.
Yep.
Right? Like, because if you get in the $1 million range and you can't figure out, like how that's going to be able to, how you can benefit yourself with that, I feel bad for you, because then at that point, $8 million is never going to be enough for you. Nope. $10 million is never going to be enough for you, and so there's definitely that where it does stink that it's not for the love of the game. But again,
it's been created by our landscape. Yeah.
Right. Like the way that we look at things and I try to put myself back in the shoes of being an 18-year-old young man, like 19 years old, and how that's, imagine being in it in this time, and then you do have the talent. However, on top of all of that, I would look at it, and if I'm Nico's dad, and I'm going through the stat sheet, son, I don't think you're worth $2 million as it is right now. Why are we going to go for $4 million right here? So there's a difference in, the optimism, the reality, and then the pessimism of the whole entire side.
Yeah, absolutely. Great points there. We've created the monster, and again, not us, but the NCAA, all these schools, the boosters, whatever it may be. There's just no control, and maybe it'll change a little bit next year when the payment of players starts happening, but that doesn't change anything in NIL. But I know we do have to take a quick break. We got to get Doc A on the line, our Masters Fantasy Challenge champion. And then, of course, he'll help us preview the NBA playoffs with the play-in games getting started tonight. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind coming out of the west-northwest around 14 miles per hour and a high of 77. Tonight, look for a gentle breeze and clear skies with a temperature near 58. Tomorrow, a high around 73 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, hot with a high of 77 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Want to experience the ultimate car wash? At Tommy's Express, you'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading, flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Try us for free. Text WASH 415 to 86697 to send our best wash, The Works, directly to your phone. You'll love the sudsy clean, ceramic wax, underbody flush, spot-free rinse, and tire gloss. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today. Offer valid to new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional and information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. And now,
Doctor, my eyes.
Doc A joins the Inside Drive. It's just what the doctor orders.
Oh, doctor! Talk to your doctor before use.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And then I blow it like that. Done things in my life that'll make you take some sex, but
and welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN at Northwest Florida. I guess that doesn't have any copyright infringement on there unless you decide to say something. You know.
No.
But
I'll charge y'all 10 cents per time you use it.
I mean, you're the one pressing the button, so. But yes, we got. I'm kind of have an honor and a privilege here. You know, we got a big time champion coming on the show with us right now, and that is our good friend Steve Alexander. But we like to call him Doc A, our Masters Fantasy Challenge winner, and I'll be shipping him up a nice prize that he won with a little bit of drama down the stretch there. Doc, how we doing today?
Well, I also had a little bit of help because I was like, why is everybody going with Maverick? McNeely as the first timer. I actually texted you and asked you if you liked Rye or Maverick better. You said you kind of liked Rye a little bit better, so I went with him. And that ended up being the difference in winning and losing because everybody else had Maverick as their guy, and Rye beat him on Sunday and got like the 2-shot advantage on him. So thanks for the help, man. It's an honor to have won the Northwest Florida ESPN Masters.
Absolutely, and you were pretty high up there in the overall as well. I know you were in the top 1% at one point. I don't know how you ended up finishing, but I believe you were, 39 under par for the 4 rounds, something like that. So if you would have been in a lot of Masters pools, you might have won some cash with that one. Now, the pools to pick from might have been a little different, but yeah, I had Aaron Rye as well, but the other gentleman I had didn't do quite as well as your guys. I think I was near the bottom of our pool, but certainly makes it a lot of fun, and we appreciate you doing that. But let's talk a little bit about the Masters. You were up there on Wednesday, right, for the par 3?
Yes.
And that was your first time going to the Masters?
No, it was my second.
That's right. I keep asking you this question. I don't know why I don't remember, but yes. So obviously, but your first one during a par 3 contest. How was that experience? And was it, pretty neat over there on the little course, as they call it?
It was cool. Unlike the Masters itself, I walked in and sat my chair down right on the ropes, and on the first hole of the par 3, you can see 5 holes from there. So. All the players and their kids and their wives are all walking right in front of us. So that was actually pretty cool. One thing I noticed, the difference between this year and when I went in 2022, felt like there were a lot more people there. I feel like they've upped the attendance or upped the number of tickets that they're allowing patrons into the event. So there were a lot of bathroom lines, a lot of the line to get into the pro shop to buy gnomes and clothing was like an hour long.
Right off the get-go, too, right? Everybody's trying to get those gnomes each day.
Everybody was trying to get the gnomes early, so they were lining up outside the gates, just waiting for the property to open, and then lining up in the clubhouse. And so I think the gnome phenomenon, which, if you don't know, they sold like 1,000 gnomes a day, and they're super limited, $50. Now people are selling them on the internet for like, I don't know, $1,000 or something crazy. So I did not get a gnome, but there were a lot of people there. But the course is so beautiful. It's just so amazing to be there. It's like a lot of people's lifelong dreams. And even though there were a ton of people, it's really hard to see unless you're sitting down right by a green or a tee box. It's still just incredible to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, we've kind of been talking about it at length the last couple of days, but what'd you think about Rory kind of trying to lose it a few times, but then, coming back in that playoff hole and putting it away and getting his career Grand Slam?
Well, when he hit the wedge into the creek, was that on 13?
Yeah, 13, yep.
Didn't he lay up to get there?
He did. And,
I find that... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, probably one of the worst shots I've seen him hit in his major championship career, given the circumstance. And I've been saying it, on 13, you've got so much room behind that front pin to just use it as a backstop. And it almost looked like he kind of got a little quick in the transition, came out of it a little bit, and kind of flared it out to the right and ended up in Rays Creek, and probably got some of that TT on it from the amateur who relieved himself in Rays Creek back on Thursday. But, yeah, that was I think even Rory said in his press conference that he felt at that point maybe the Masters is just never something I'm going to win, and obviously he regrouped there nicely on 15, which I thought at that point he was going to win it. But continue, Doc. I apologize for interrupting.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I'm not a very good golfer, but I'm aggressive, and I feel like every time I try to do the right thing and play smart and lay up instead of doing what I really want to do, my next shot is always bad, and I chunk it into the creek like Rory did. And I wonder. I just think some people are not built to lay up, and I don't think Rory probably wanted to lay that up.
Yeah.
He probably wanted to go for it, but the smart thing and the thing you're supposed to do is lay up, and that shot was terrible. And then on 18, his approach shot the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know how he hits that in the bunker. All he has to do is put it anywhere on the green, and then, of course, Rose hits the putt of his life, 30-footer. And then, the next time Rory played 18 in the playoff, he absolutely striped that ball. And hits a perfect shot, and even he couldn't miss that putt. So I was really happy for Rory, man. I was pulling for Scheffler because of my pools and whatnot, but if Scheffler wasn't going to get it done, I certainly wanted Rory to.
Yeah, absolutely. Just nice to see some history being made there with that career Grand Slam, and now he's certainly in some exclusive club with the career Grand Slam. Obviously, 6 golfers have done that. 18 tennis players have completed the career Grand Slam. 12 people have walked on the moon. 24 MLB pitchers have thrown perfect game. 27 people have completed the EGOT, which is winning an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony. 10 players won the Heisman and were inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. 70 people have completed the Explorers Grand Slam, which I didn't even know this was a thing, climbing the 7 summits and reaching both North and South Poles. 70 people have done that. 3 spinners have run the 100-meter in 9.7 seconds. And last but not least, 2 horses have completed the Grand Slam of thoroughbred racing, which we know is also winning the Triple Crown. So 6 people winning the Grand Slam in golf may be one of the most exclusive clubs in sports and beyond. So impressive stuff there by Rory McIlroy. But Doc, it's upon us. Hard to believe the NBA season is already getting underway with the playoffs. But first, before we talk about that, how did you end up doing in your NBA 30 deep fantasy league, the big one with all the top people there in fantasy? And you ended up winning last year. Were you able to repeat this year?
I was not. My team, I just didn't have the horses. The guy that I was playing had the best team all year. I worked with him at Sports Ethos, and he was healthier than I was. He had better scrubs than I had, because really the end of your roster, it gets very slim pickings, and if you get a good player late, which I had a couple of them, that's how I got to the finals. I competed, but his team was better than mine, and it wasn't even that close in the finals. So, and it's that kind of, it's a league where you can't just go pick a guy up off the waiver wire if somebody's not playing well, because there are no guys.
30 people in the league.
300 people drafted, so it's just tough. But it was fun, man. I had a good year, and I got to the finals in 3 different leagues, 3 out of my 5 leagues, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, just making it to the finals is a pretty impressive feat, especially in your league with the 30 different owners there in the fantasy competition. All right, let's talk about some NBA action. I know we talked about this a little bit off the air, but why do you think the Grizzlies and the Nuggets both fired their coaches when they had secured playoff positions? And I know the Grizzlies are playing in the playoff game, but, I mean, that's still technically a playoff position.
Well, Michael Malone lost the team because he showed favoritism to Russell Westbrook. That's what reports say. Malone had been coaching there for like 10 years, and I think everybody just decided it was time to make a change. I wouldn't have done it right before the playoffs. I'm not surprised he got fired. I'm surprised when he got fired. That's the part that doesn't make any sense. And then Taylor Jenkins in Memphis, I'm sure Ja Morant had something to do with that. And it was funny because after Taylor Jenkins got fired, Ja Morant came back and played the next game after he missed 6 in a row. He played in a back-to-back. He suddenly was completely healthy and was playing at an incredibly high level after the coach got canned. So, and then Coach Bud Budenholzer got fired in Phoenix, but
that was kind of more expected, right? Yeah.
If he didn't get fired, there was going to be a problem, because he lost that team a long time ago, and they were just a disaster. So I think Coach Bud's career might be over. I saw something he gets paid $10 million a year for the next 10 years, I think.
Whew. Not too bad to go sit on your couch.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right, Doc, what are some of the big storylines heading into the playoffs coming up? Obviously, one conference looks, a little top-heavy. The other one looks pretty wide open. But what are some of the big storylines that you guys are talking about on the Sports Ethos podcast?
Well, I think the big question is, can the favorites, Oklahoma City, and I feel like even though the Cavaliers are the best team in the East, everybody's still talking about the Celtics. It's the Celtics versus OKC. And can those teams hold on and finish this out, or is a random team going to sneak in there and do something? Like Houston as the number 2 seed, I don't think anybody wants to play them right now. They're young, they play defense, they've got good offense. Ime Udoka does not play around. He's their coach. Of course, the Lakers with LeBron and Luka, everybody has some interest in what they're going to do. The Nuggets with Jokic, who probably is not going to win the MVP, but a lot of people think he should. He's the first center in history to average a triple-double. And the Clippers are really good, too. The Clippers are deep. They got 4 really good starters. Kawhi Leonard had a bounce-back, terrific year. And then you've got Golden State with Steph Curry in the play-in, just trying to get in the regular playoffs. And if they get there, they can do some damage, too. So it would not surprise me if we had a sleeper team come out of the West. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I mean, speaking of those playoff games, obviously the Warriors trying to win tonight to get in. And the 2 games tonight, you got the Hawks at the Magic and the Grizzlies at the Warriors. With the play-in game, the winner of those games gets the number 7 seed, and then the rest kind of play out through the winner. And the loser of the other 2 games is out, and then the winner of that game plays the loser of the games coming up tonight. So let's talk a little bit about these games coming up tonight. We'll start with the Hawks at the Magic. Magic are a 5.5-point favorite at home. What do you think about this one? Our Orlando Magic here in the Panhandle. Obviously, they're not in the Panhandle, but we send a group of fans over there on the Magic Express every year. So we do have some ties to the Orlando Magic here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yeah, Paolo Banchero's got the highest points over-under prop out of all these teams in the play-in. And Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are going to be a tough matchup for the Hawks. It's at Orlando. Orlando plays really good defense. I'm going to go with the Magic minus 5.5, but I would not personally place a bet on that game.
Gotcha. But Hawks got an opportunity to steal one here and lock up a playoff spot?
They do. Trae Young's going to have to play really well. Zach Ricochet is going to have to play well. Ricochet went for like 36 2.5 weeks ago, and then he disappeared for the next 2 weeks. And then he blew up again at Saturday, I think. And if he crawls back into his hole, that's going to be a problem. But this Hawks team is legit. Dyson Daniels, Trae, caused problems for backcourts, and then Okongwu looks good. And I just think that I just don't think they're going to be able to stop Paolo Banchero. He's probably going to single-handedly whack the Hawks.
Nice. Well, hopefully, I know, we got a lot of Atlanta Hawks fans down here as well, in addition to Orlando Magic fans. So kind of an interesting game for the Florida Panhandle here and our NBA fans in our area. And, that's the early game, right? That's the first one, I think, maybe 7 p.m. your time, 6 p.m. our time.
7:30, yep.
7:30. Okay, there you go. So 6:30 here in the Central Time Zone. And, of course, the second game, the nightcap, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler trying to lead the Golden State Warriors against the Memphis Grizzlies. Kind of a big favorite in this one, 7.5 points to the Warriors at home. What do you think about this one, Doc?
Yeah, they are at home. That's why the point spread is like that. The Grizzlies are pretty tough, man. They've got I'd say they have an underrated starting five. Desmond Bain and Ja Morant and Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. is really, really good players. So this should be interesting. I think Steph Curry is going to have to play really, really well and score a ton of points if the Warriors are going to cover that spread and win the game. But he hasn't been playing well lately, so it's Ja. It should be fun watching those two go at it. 7.5 is a lot of points. I'm feeling the Warriors here. They just feel like they should be in the playoffs. I think they have the experience, and hopefully Steve Kerr plays a small rotation and lets the right guys play, and the Warriors get it done. But it should be a very good game.
Well, and Steve Kerr's kind of been not playing everybody. I kind of heard that through the grapevine. He's been not I feel like the rotation has been very small. And do you think that actually will benefit the Warriors in this game? Or do you think, some of these guys have been sitting out healthy scratches on their little, I want to call it a little, I think they dropped 3 out of their last 4 heading into this playoff game?
Well, at the start of the season, he was playing 15 guys, 13 guys a night. And, all of us fantasy guys got pretty mad about it because you couldn't rely on anybody. Nobody was getting enough minutes to get comfortable or get in a groove, and it was just sort of a disaster. So Rick Hamill and I have kind of been busting Steve Kerr all year, like, he's a fantasy coach killer. But if he's going to tighten up the rotation, let Curry and Draymond and Jimmy play the minutes, then let those guys have the ball in their hands for 42 minutes, and then let Moses Moody do his thing for 10 minutes. If the Stars have the ball, I think Golden State should win.
All right. Well, hopefully that small rotation comes to fruition and the Warriors can get over the hump. Real quick, Doc, the 2 games tomorrow. I know we got to take a break here in a second, but the Bulls at the Heat -1.
I'm going Heat.
Okay.
They've got Davion Mitchell. He's a shutdown guy. They call him Night Off. He's going to stop Kobe White from scoring.
And then the last play-in game before they play again, the Mavericks at the Kings. Can the Mavericks find the way into the playoffs despite having one of the craziest, biggest collapsing seasons in recent history in the NBA?
The Kings are one of the more disappointing teams to me. They're not very good, even though they've got a stacked lineup. I'm not gonna bet this one either, but I'm gonna predict the Mavericks cover that spread.
All right, so 4.5 is the spread going to the Kings, so Dallas plus 4.5. Doc, we appreciate your time as always. I'll be getting that prize package up to you here shortly. Again, congratulations on winning the ESPN Northwest Florida Masters Challenge.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.
All right, take care, Doc. We guys are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
After a slow start, the Atlanta Braves are ready to launch.
Taking no prisoners. Braves win into the bottom of the 10th.
Tonight, the Atlanta Braves host the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll have live coverage coming up from Truist Park at 6. First pitch at 6:07, right here on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we're here to help you celebrate the graduate in your life with a personalized gift that expresses who she is to that special touch that symbolizes her style. Tracy's Fine Jewelry has a perfect gift that's as unique as your graduate, including monogram milestones that will personalize her style with a special touch that she will cherish for a lifetime. Let's celebrate the class of 2025 with a gift from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, putting a sparkle on Bay County for over 50 years.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction, be part of a winning team.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus Studios. 4. Don't mind me. I'm just playing through. Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, if you text Coach James Hale Show this morning with your racing name and keyword, make sure you listen to the Inside Drive at 1240 and the Afternoon Underdogs at 540. If we announce your name, race to the phones and give us a call at 850-215-6290. How long it takes you to give us a call back is your qualifying time. The 2 fastest qualifying times will each win 2 tickets to the Jack Links 500 on Sunday, April 27th. Also, 2 tickets to the Arkham and Menards Series General Tire 200 and NASCAR Xfinity Series Ag Pro 300 doubleheader on Saturday. Contest runs between now and the end of this week, so make sure you're listening to the Coach James Hale Show every morning, and if you do end up texting in, make sure you're listening at 1240 and 540. The overall fastest time will also win a pair of tickets to the incredible Talladega Garage Experience. We appreciate PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Buffalo Rock Pepsi, Hampton Inn on Thomas Drive, and Home 2 Suites for making this spring's version of the Race to Talladega come to fruition. Huge opportunity for you guys out there. Hopefully you were listening this morning, and hopefully you do pay attention here in about a little less than an hour, and hopefully we'll announce your racing name and the code word. I don't know what the code word was this morning. I was not listening to Coach James Hale Show this morning, but I know a lot of people probably were while they were stuck in traffic trying to get over the Hathaway Bridge, where I guess there was a car that burst into flames this morning on the. So hopefully everybody's okay. So, but I know. The kids ride with Mr. Ian, and they didn't get there till about 8:15 when they're supposed to be there about 7:15, 7:30.
Whoa, doggy!
But they weren't
unexcused absence.
They weren't doing any tardies today, so they took that into consideration. So good stuff. Good stuff. Real quick on the WNBA draft, no surprise here. Paige Beckers went first to the Dallas Wings in that WNBA draft. So big time player going to the Wings there. Not a huge draft as far as talent, not compared to last year anyway. But Paige Beckers will also make more money doing the 3-on-3 league with the contract she signed for than she will in her first total WNBA contract. So obviously double dipping a little bit there, but don't blame her for trying to, like we were talking about in the first segment, get some more extra money. And then the second player to go in the WNBA draft was Dominique Malonga, who's a very fascinating prospect. Some of her calling her the WNBA's version of Victor Wembanyama. She's a 6'6", 19-year-old who hails from France, which obviously that helps draw the comparison as well. Her talent, though raw, is comparable to Becker's. Mike Vorkanoff has a great story that you can find on the Bleacher Report website if you do subscribe to that. It's the New York Times, like $1.99 a month, something like that. But I want to dive into, I almost forgot, because he's here every once in a while, that we did pick the division winners before the season started. Doesn't feel like it was that long ago that we did that, and here we are, both. Division.
This is fun.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
Do we still have a count going on what the scores look like?
Technically, yeah. Technically, I haven't done it in a long time, but maybe we'll see Jay this Friday, because I'll be here this Friday. So hopefully, maybe Jay will make an appearance this Friday, and we can get caught back up with that. But you want to start with NBA or NHL? I know NHL isn't completely set in stone, but all the division winners are.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we have enough time to knock both out. So let's start with the association.
All right, the association will start with the Atlantic Division. That ended up being won by the Boston Celtics, which David and Jay both took the Celtics. I went against the grain and took the Knicks, who ended up finishing second in that particular division. All right, moving on to what's the next division here? The Central Division in the Eastern Conference.
I took I forgot who I took right here.
You took the Pacers, little hard pick there. Jay took the Bucks. And I really don't remember why I took the Cavs, and that's who ended up winning that division.
Good pick right there.
I guess. Who would have thought? I think I was trying to go against the grain again, and that one didn't backfire on me.
No, that grain grew up to be organic oats.
Yes, oats, apples and bananas. All right, the Southeast Division, none other than your Orlando Magic, who Jay picked. You picked the Heat, and I picked the Hawks in that one. How do you remember that? Or do you got it in your phone?
No, I don't have nothing in my phone, no.
You just got that memory like an elephant?
Like an elephant? If it's pertaining to sports, clearly. Everything else, no, not so much.
Right out the window. All right, moving over to the Western Conference. Let's see how we did here. We'll start with the Pacific division, Jay picked the Suns. I don't mean to laugh at them, but, they didn't quite have the greatest season that they could have. Pacific Division, where are we? That ended up being the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know if anybody picked the
I think
Lakers.
I took the Warriors.
You took the Kings. I took the Warriors.
Kings.
He took the Suns. So, nobody gets that one. And then the Northwest Division ended up being the Oklahoma City Thunder, and only one of us didn't pick them. Jay went with the Spurs. I think he was on the...
the Wemby train.
No, excuse me. He went with the Nuggets, which not a bad pick.
Okay.
And both of us went with the OKC Thunder. I shouldn't make fun of him for picking the Spurs because I picked the Spurs as well. And you took the Memphis Grizzlies in the Southwest Division, which ended up being the Houston Rockets. But Grizzlies were right there in second place. So you got 1, 2... I got 2, and Jay got 1. So those being worth 10 points, I'll calculate that and add them into our pick'em. Now we'll dive over to the NHL side.
Oh,
of things.
this one's going to be dicey.
Just a few divisions, just 4 divisions in the NHL this day and
The only one I remember actually picking on this one, I believe I took the Boston Bruins in their division.
Yeah, dead last. It's back-to-back Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
They've been doing pretty well, so that's fair. All right, we'll start with the Atlantic Division. I think Jay's going to get this one because the only NHL team he knows is those Toronto Maple Leafs, and he did indeed pick the Toronto Maple Leafs to win that division. You picked the Bruins, you were right, and I picked the Panthers, who ended up not winning that division. I think they're officially, after that loss last night, locked up that 3rd seed, and the Tampa Bay Panther matchup is already set in stone. So that'll be fun.
Would you have a rival? Would two teams have when two teams have kind of become back the state of Florida is the reigning home for the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
They should not have to. They should make a pass where y'all don't have to play in the first round. In fact, we'll try to mitigate it so where you will be playing in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, no, that would be certainly a lot more exciting. It'll be an exciting series one way or the other, but it'd be cooler if it was a little bit further down the line. All right, moving over to the Western Conference in the Central Division. Let's see. Central Division ended up being the Winnipeg Jets, which I'm going to guess none of us picked that. Jay went with the Colorado Avalanche. You went with the Dallas Stars, and I went with Nashville. A little homer pick there as one of the closer hockey teams.
And Nashville didn't have the greatest of season. I was hopeful for them, too, especially with Stammer going over there,
Yep, but
Nashville's kind of like, I don't have a second team, really, in any other sport outside of baseball with the Rays, but... yeah, I root for former players that didn't leave on a bad note, a.k.a. Freddie Freeman.
Yep, absolutely. And then in the Pacific Division, I think we'll actually get another correct pick here. The Vegas Golden Knights had 107 total points in that one, and I
think I went Colorado there.
You went Edmonton.
Edmonton, okay.
Yeah, you went Jay went the Avs in the Central Division. So both of us, the Knights, myself and Jay ended up picking that one correctly. So just 3 correct picks there in the NHL side of things. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total correct there in the NBA side of things. But very much looking forward to those NHL playoffs as they will be getting underway here coming up, I believe, on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, because the final game of the regular season is on Thursday. I believe it gets underway on Saturday with maybe some afternoon games, but we shall see. I know a lot of the matchups are getting set in stone. Still a few things to figure out. There was one game yesterday.
Yeah, they'll start on Saturday, April 19th.
Cool. There was the Canadians, I believe, are still in the mix. Not the Canadians. The Blue Jackets, I think, are still in the mix after a game went down yesterday. So still not completely set in stone on the Western Conference side of things. Let's see. Let me make sure I was speaking correctly. Yeah, Eastern Conference as well. Still got the Blue Jackets and the Canadians. Yeah, for some reason I thought the Canadians were much higher up in the standings. But yeah, Blue Jackets and the Canadians are only separated by 4 points. So if Columbus wins their next 2 and Montreal does not win their next 2, and they're currently on a 3-game losing streak, and the Blue Jackets are on a 4-game winning streak, the Blue Jackets can end up stealing a playoff spot there from the old Les Habitants of Montreal. And then over there on the Western Conference side, still trying to lock in the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 seed. That's down to 3 teams. That's the Minnesota Wild, St. Louis Blues, and Calgary Flames, 95, 94, 92, respectively. Unfortunately, the Blues have dropped their last 3, but they are 7-2-1 on their last 10 games. So they're playing great, but still got to get that figured out, and then we'll have the entire playoffs locked together. I am excited that we'll be joined by Al Carl, my good friend who's the ice technician there for the Washington Capitals, every Monday at 11:20 throughout the playoffs, just to give his thoughts. And obviously with the Capitals leading the Eastern Conference in points, they'll be the number 1 seed. So everything goes through Washington. So that'll be kind of fun to chat with him each week and give his thoughts on the playoffs, as he is very plugged in, obviously, with hockey, working in the NHL.
We can also ask him about ice deficiencies in certain other arenas. Like, what would you do here, Al?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And last time we had him on, I think I heard Ovi say when he went for the slide that the ice there was kind of bad, but I wasn't going to ask him about it because he used to be with the Islanders. So I didn't want him to have to throw any shade to his former employer or anything like that. But if you are not a hockey fan, I certainly encourage you to watch playoff hockey anyway. It's intense, it's fun, and if you ever get a chance to go to a playoff hockey game, that's pretty fantastic stuff.
I think we do a good job of that here, like promoting how awesome the sport of hockey is, and I think we've turned a few people on to it. I know in my circle of friends, the people that I know that weren't hockey fans, I've probably turned, I'd say 6 or 7 of my friends onto hockey, and now they're like, whenever they're out of town and have a chance to go to games, they make sure to go to a game.
Absolutely, and it is kind of nice. We have a minor league hockey team. Not right in our backyard, but a couple hours away. And minor league hockey is very different than NHL hockey because the skill level is just so much different. You'll get a lot more fights and a lot more of that kind of stuff in minor league hockey.
Entertainment, baby.
Yeah, it's all about entertainment, and obviously that kind of gives you a taste of how the game works. And you don't have to drop an arm and a leg to go to those particular games. But Pensacola, the Ice Flyers just down there. I know they had a good run in the playoffs last year. I have no idea how they're playing this year, but pretty cool to have a minor league hockey team just down the road. We're going to have to go ahead and take a quick break here, top of the hour. I've got some fun afternoon delight debriefs when we get back. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Suffer from political talk radio fatigue? Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a wind coming out of the west-northwest around 14 miles per hour and the high of 77. Tonight, look for a gentle breeze and clear skies with a temperature near 58. Tomorrow, high around 73 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, hot with a high of 77 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Peach Pizza, formerly Marcy's Pizza, is back with more hours and more pizza. Peach Pizza has new owners and now open every day, 11 to 11. Pizza by the slice, whole pies, wings, pretzels, garlic knots, and more choice eats in East BCB. I finally tried a slice, and it was a thin crust, totes, cheesy slice of paradise. 8815 B Thomas Drive. Online at beachpizzapcb.com. Call ahead, 850-775-4053.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the Atlanta Braves here in Northwest Florida. Braves got a good victory last night, but coming up again after the afternoon underdogs coverage will start as soon as the show ends. First pitch at 6:07. Again on the road over there, up there I should say, in Toronto. But a good victory last night, 8-4. I believe. Austin Riley, I was going to say Freddie Freeman because you had said him before. I believe Austin Riley hit 2 home runs in that game. So maybe we're catching some fire here a little bit and climbing ever so gently closer to 500. So obviously we need some good things to continue happening. But
Schwellenbach versus Gosman tonight, former Atlanta Brave Gosman. But yeah, shout out to the Jacob Fish and to Miles and Tag too, because that's where this jersey came from.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Thankful to them. He asked me when we were doing that tournament what kind of a jersey I would like, because the boys wanted to get me a jersey.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I was like, well, I've never had a road Braves jersey. And so, we're on the road today up there in Toronto.
Yeah, you're looking very brave today.
Very brave, very courageous.
Very, very courageous. All right, David. Let's see.
Oh, you're going to give me options here.
Humanoid robots, cloning, or the McDonald's Monopoly scam. I've got some good ones today.
Let's save the best for last there with the McDonald's Monopoly scam.
I like that.
So the second one was cloning?
Correct.
Let's go cloning.
All right. From the Not Common Facts Instagram
I'd like to clone myself.
Yeah.
And especially if both of us could get paid the same amount and all of it goes to my bank account, that would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be good. Little double down. I just don't know if cloning replicates like what's in your brain. I don't know how it could. But,
wouldn't we love to know?
Yeah. Anyway, from the Not Common Facts Instagram account, human cloning has now become a scientific reality, with American scientists successfully cloning the first human embryo. Experts assert that there are no longer scientific obstacles preventing human cloning. In a pivotal breakthrough in 2013, researchers created human embryos that could generate embryonic stem cells, paving the way for personalized treatments for conditions like diabetes. However, these embryos were less complex than a complete human. In 2018, Chinese scientists made headlines by cloning 2 macaque monkeys, Zongzong and Hua, H-U-A, Hua, probably Hua, not Hoo.
Hua.
That's what, little, what's that? Samoan.
Well,
yeah, Shark Tank too. Hoo-ha.
Oh, yeah.
Shark bait. Hoo-ha.
Yeah, Shark bait, not Shark Tank. Yeah. What's
yeah.
that, Finding Nemo?
Yeah, that's the first one. Absolutely. Great movie.
That was a great movie, man. We used to, we had a, I believe it was a 2005. It wasn't the WinStar anymore. It was the Ford Freestar.
Oh, yep.
And we had the drop-down TVs,
nice.
man, and the DVD player, and Finding Nemo was probably the go-to in that sucker.
Nice.
All because of Crush.
Yep.
Whoa, dude.
That was a great movie. Still could watch it this day. But anyway, Zongzong and Hua making the first instance of primate cloning utilizing somatic cell nuclear transfer, the same method used to clone Dolly, the sheep. They demonstrated that this technique could be applied to more complex organisms. Experts like Jeffrey Kahn from Johns Hopkins caution that we are venturing into a complex ethical territory. The ability to produce a human being from clone raises significant questions about identity, consent, and of course, human dignity. In the United States, cloning is not federally prohibited, and the FDA's authority over medical procedures is limited, creating a regulatory void. While some scientists advocate for a pause until international standards akin to those established during 1975 Asilomar Conference on DNA research can be developed, others believe that interconnectedness of the modern science makes moratorium improbable. As cloning approaches reality, society must urgently determine how to navigate its implications before it becomes a reality. And you tell me that they can't cure cancer.
Well, there's
It's back to the college NIL stuff. It's all about the money.
And that's what it is, man. And I think where we're at, man, and I think it really started to get a spotlight on it. If we're just gonna dive into it, COVID. You know, I think that people, conspiracy theorists and such, already kind of had an idea, but I think that there was a real manipulative control factor there with COVID, and I think that people realized, okay, they can do things that for a while they said that they can't do. And I'm not even talking about healing or anything, just in the sense of it was stopping work for 2 weeks. Like, who would have really in their right mind would have thought that it would be possible for that to kind of happen, and then to sit there and have only essential employees and all of that stuff. And so I do think that there was a little bit of a control factor there without going, full tin foil and all of that stuff. And I think that with the dire wolf, with all of this stuff, there has to be, but it all comes down to the money. And it's a sad reality, man. Yep. And listen, the Bible is a really good playbook for what in the world is going on in this world, but everyone, I don't want to say everyone, that's a strong, a lot of people discredit it because it's an old text, and it's or read it and see how much it lines up with today.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The Lord knew what he was doing when he inspired those people to put that pen to the pad.
Yeah, no doubt, and we're ever so gently getting closer to Easter weekend, so your timing with that is pretty darn good. But my rant yesterday that I never got to is because you brought up COVID.
Yeah,
the FDA quickly approved and got all these vaccines shoved down our throats, but yet we can't get FDA to approve, trials for cancer that could really benefit people. So that was kind of my rant that I was going to go into yesterday without getting too political.
Well, and why does it have to be so many people? Or if your insurance doesn't line up with our insurance, or if you're not in the right area, it's like at the end of the day, and I don't know, because I didn't go for medicine or health or any of that stuff, but isn't like their oath to help people? I get that it's bigger than them. I get that it's bigger than them. I do. Yeah. But my goodness gracious, when we turned, and I don't know when it exactly happened, but when we turned health into a business is when that's a large part of why maybe America's not as great as what people kind of say that it is. And I'm not saying that it's not great. This is a great country.
It's still the best in the world.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm an American through and through. I love this country. I don't care who the president is, any of that stuff. That's what gets me, is y'all only want to be Americans when you got the right president. That's crazy. This is a amazing country. And
go to Europe right now. I mean,
yeah. Like, and dadgummit, it's neighbor against neighbor, all of this good stuff, and there's so much division. But man, if we choose love, imagine how far we could go. But that doesn't matter because it don't line your pockets, does it?
Nope. War and medical are two biggest businesses in the world right now, and like you said, that's the issue. But I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get away from that. But we'll pivot into robot humanoids. While everyone watches AI, the NVIDIA, don't ask me what that stands for, created a new species. Their humanoid robot just replaced 50 million human workers overnight. It works 24/7, never complains, and costs less than minimum wage. Here's what you need to know about Navida's, I'm just going to call it Navida's Groot N1, Groot N1. Imagine a robot that just doesn't follow code, but it learns, adapts, and evolves in real time. NVIDIA's Groot N1 is the first open-source generalist foundation model for humanoid robots. So why is that different from every other humanoid robot that you've seen? Groot N1 is powered by a dual-system brain. System 1, fact, instinctive reflexes. 2, slow, reasoned planning. Just like you, except it never forgets. The synergy allows robots to think, act, and adjust like a human's thought process, but it gets wilder. Think of it as Grok for robotics. Groot N1 can manipulate real-world objects with precision. It can pass between hands, execute complex sequences, and teach itself new tasks. One demo showed a robot cleaning a house autonomously. And the scale is insane. With Omniverse plus Cosmos, NVIDIA created 6,500 hours of training data in just 11 hours. That's 9 months of human demonstration compressed into a half a day. Now, combine that with Newton, a new physics engine built with Google DeepMind and Disney that teaches robots how to feel real-world physics. Tactile feedback, soft and rigid body stimulation, super real-time learning. Even BB-8 and R2-D2 are being upgraded. Here's what this all means. Robots will soon be cheaper than human workers. By 2030, we're short 50 million laborers globally. Robots are a $1 trillion market. They don't sleep, they don't get sick, they don't unionize. Envision a future where every warehouse, factory, and home operates with robots. I think it keeps going. And Groot N1 is open sourced. Developers worldwide are already building on it. 1X Technologies, Boston Dynamics, Agility Robotics, and Neuro Robotics are all in. This isn't sci-fi anymore, it's SDK ready. As Jensen Huang mentioned, every car is already a robot. While everyone is distracted by Grok and ChatGPT, NVIDIA may have just built the most powerful creature on Earth. This is not the future, this is our reality. Whew. Kind of had some iRobot vibes reading that one out loud. That was the Will Smith movie where all the robots basically took over everything.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of these times, we kind of can predict the future with some of these things. Certainly a little bit scary, but, I guess it is the reality.
Hey, well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm starting to get a little bit more savvy with this artificial intelligence. We were talking a little bit about ChatGPT and...
it can be super helpful in certain scenarios.
I think a lot of scenarios it can. I think if you're level-headed and you can research beyond what ChatGPT tells you, you can get so much information right there and then kind of go to the sources and find your way.
Well, and it can pull stuff from anywhere, anywhere in the internet and bring it into one thing. I mean, I know Beth has been using it for all the stuff I've been going through, and you actually can learn a lot from it by just compiling all your reports, all your test results, all that stuff, and then you almost sometimes can learn a little bit more than the doctors can tell you. So it's pretty wild, wild. But
Ohio Brad says robot strippers at the Nugget. Hey, if you like
metal, I guess, but I think hey, everybody's going to be out of a job. Everybody's going to be out of a job.
Oh my goodness, man, that would be insane. What's that movie on Netflix? Subservience with Megan Fox in it.
Gotcha.
And they're very realistic robots. Apparently, they had it's a movie. But he had relations with his robot.
Hey, to each his own, I guess.
Talk about artificial intelligence. That's artificial lust right there.
Right. Anyway, so we'll pivot to the McDonald's story now. When I read this one, I was a little bit disappointed. For 12 years, the McDonald's Monopoly game was one big lie. One man stole the winning tickets, handpicked fake winners, and scammed McDonald's out of $24 million until the FBI took him down. Here's how he pulled it off and how he got caught. McDonald's introduced the Monopoly game in 1987 as a genius marketing stunt. Peel, collect, win. Customers could win cash, cars, vacations, and even the $1 million grand prize by collecting game pieces attached to food packaging. People thought it was pure luck. In reality, one man controlled the entire thing. Meet Jerome Jacobson, a.k.a. Uncle Jerry. I have an Uncle Jerry myself. He was the head of security at the company in charge of printing the game pieces. That meant he had direct access to the rare, high-valued ones. Instead, he stole them and handpicked fake winners, taking a cut of every prize. But here's where it gets interesting. Jacobson smuggled the winning game pieces out of the printing facility and handed them off to winners he selected. For 12 years, not a single legitimate player had won a major McDonald's prize, and McDonald's had no clue. Jacobson and his network of friends, family, and other criminals would go on to steal $24 million in prizes until the FBI got an anonymous tip. McDonald's monopoly is rigged. The winners are all connected. So they launched Operation Final Answer and uncovered a sting. An undercover sting to catch the fraudsters. FBI agents went undercover as a TV crew, pretending to film McDonald's winners for a commercial. Here's where it gets even more interesting. After they interviewed the scammers, they started catching on to inconsistencies in their stories. One by one, the whole scheme fell apart. By August 2001, the FBI arrested 53 people, including Uncle Jerry. McDonald's was forced to admit the game had been rigged for years. But what happened to Uncle Jerry? McDonald's away $25 million in real prizes, they must have left out gave. McDonald's gave away $25 million in real prizes to fix their reputation. Jacobson got 37 months in prison. Most fake winners had to pay back their money. McDonald's completely changed how they run their promotions to prevent this from ever happening again. But for 12 years, Uncle Jerry had the ultimate cheat code. Who would have ever thought? I loved the McDonald's Monopoly game. It's kind of like lottery. You just hope you get Boardwalk and Park Place, right?
Or just free McRibs or whatever it may be.
Yeah, you get, free small fry. But if you know the small fry, medium fry, large fry are all the same amount of fries, then small fry is just the same as a large fry.
Yeah.
Supersize me. But yeah, I stumbled across that McDonald's story, and that was pretty wild. Some wild ones coming out today. Or not today, but over the last few days. Let's see. I'll go to Odd News and see where we're at. Those are my 3 big ones for today. We still got about 5 in this segment. Oh, refresh.
What?
What you got?
I'm reading over here about Nico. Do you have anything else on Nico outside of my little soapbox rant from earlier?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Just the fact that, they were trying to opt out and trying to leverage playing in the playoff games to get more money was pretty wild.
Well, I heard also, and I haven't read this article, and I heard it because after the show yesterday, someone had texted in. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was a first-time texter, honestly, but they had said, did you see the article? Let's see if I can find out who it was. Maybe Juice is his name, but I'm not entirely sure who this is. They said, did you see the article where players, including the Vols players, asked for more money to play in the playoff games, as you just mentioned, or they would have set out? That's crazy to me.
Yeah. That's kind of what we were talking about in the first, how could you, it kind of got to where we went with, you play, obviously, their, money, et cetera, but you also play to win championships. And the fact that, from my opinion, the fact that you would put, leveraging more money over an opportunity to win a championship. And they said it distracted them from preparing for the Ohio State game as well, because it was all going on while they were supposed to be prepping for that game. And obviously Ohio State beat the brakes off them. So maybe that did become a factor on why they ended up, laying such an egg there in the
of course.
semifinal.
I mean, what NFL players are having contract negotiations during the postseason?
No, none.
Right. I mean, it's wild that because there's no regulation on this, then it does make it gives it a large type wild west feel to it, and it's not good for the game. There's one thing to have the offseason conversations, but in reality, like even with Nico, it was a 4-year, $8 million deal, $2 million a year.
Yep.
All right, that's what it is. There's not renegotiating. You have 4 years. You have 4 years of maximum eligibility. First off, when they're doing that, and if you're really a good quarterback, you're not going to be there for 4 years because you're going to go to the NFL in 3 years.
Yeah. And so I think that point right there is kind of why Tennessee's like, all right, we'll see.
And they made the right, Tennessee handled it perfectly. I just don't want to, hate on the fact of what Nico did, because that's just where we're driving these kids to do this until we put a stop to it.
Yep.
And a way to put a stop to it is by contracts.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's going to slow this down. And if you don't live up to your end of the contract, you're not getting all your NIL money.
Which apparently he wasn't doing.
Yeah, he was ghosting signings, appearances, all that stuff. So apparently this has been brewing basically since he's been there at Tennessee. And we'll see where he ends up landing. And if he can get away from doing crazy stuff, maybe he'll end up being a decent college quarterback, because he showed some signs of a little bit of talent, a little bit of greatness last year. I mean, they got themselves to the playoff. Now, there were some other things that happened that, kind of opened up that door for Tennessee. But yeah.
19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,600 yards. There's nothing on that when you run down that stat line, and it's not like he was it's not like he was gaining a large amount on the ground as a runner. However, yes, he has some mobility. My thing is it's not like Nico had nothing. But if they didn't have a good run game, Nico would have been exposed even more so.
That 5 interceptions would have been a whole nother ball game. But
and plus, I mean, his last name basically, if you just pronounce it regularly without it being like Iamaliva or whatever, it's I'm Aliva.
I'm leaving.
I'm Aliva.
So I saw one that said IMA. And then it had a potty word there at the end of it on one of his jerseys. They just put the masking tape over the top of it. But, that's one way to piss off your fan base is just, act like you're better than the game. I don't know. Anyway, we got to take a quick break. Coming up, we got Brad Law joining us from the Auburn Sports Network. Looking forward to talking to him about where Auburn baseball is currently going, recapping, obviously, the Auburn basketball season, and then seeing how the new formatted A-Day game went this past weekend. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Brad Law coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents The Race to Talladega. Join Coach Hale mornings at 7:15 and 8:15 to enter. Then at 12:40 and 5:40, listen for your name to be called. If we announce your name, race to the phones. How long it takes you to call 850-215-6290 is your qualifying time. The 2 fastest qualifying times win a pair of tickets to the Jack Links 500 from PCB Hobby, Pepsi, Panama City Toyota, and your racing station. ESPN Northwest
This is
Florida.
Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Tuesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 77 with a moderate breeze around 13 miles per hour coming out of the west-northwest. For tonight, clear skies with a gentle breeze and a low near 57. Tomorrow, wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, sunny and a high around 73. For Thursday, sunshine and a high of 77. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Did you know that we have a master jeweler right here in the store? That's right, she has over 20 years experience in the art of repairing jewelry. Most repairs are done within a week, so don't send your jewelry off for 6 weeks. Bring it to us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We size rings and solder chains. We can reset your diamond into a new setting and even custom design. You'll get your jewelry back quickly and looking as good as new. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, Bay County's trusted jeweler for over 50 years.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's The Inside Drive. Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's The Inside Drive.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I know it's been a little while, but he is back in the saddle with us here on The Inside Drive. That is Brad Law, the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Network. Brad, how you doing up there in the plains on this down here? It's an absolutely spectacular Tuesday.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good days in a row weather-wise, so we are grateful for that and ready to go. We're leaving in less than an hour. We leave for baseball up in Jacksonville State tonight, and that's my home county. So I'm kind of looking forward to being up there and seeing some friends and maybe family and seeing this number 6 ranked Auburn baseball team in action again tonight.
Absolutely. They've certainly been playing very well, kind of picking up where basketball left off. I'm going to start with not a topic we usually talk about, Brad, but, you're in sports, and I've been asking all my guests that are in sports this one. Did you enjoy Rory McIlroy and the Masters winning the career Grand Slam, if you indeed had a chance to watch some Masters action this past weekend?
Yeah, now we were in the midst of the third game of the LSU series. It was the first sweep for Auburn over LSU since 1988. And just 2 top 10 teams in a terrific game, a 1-run game on a Sunday. So we only got to check out a little bit, but now we were finished by the time Rory was on 18, and we were there for the missed putt on 18, and we watched, or we're not there, we were watching, and we watched the playoff and had my son there watching it too. It was a great moment. You love any, I'm not going to tell you that I'm the most avid golf fan and follow it as closely as many others who are listening today, but I can get behind a story of perseverance and failure and perseverance and victory and enjoying that moment. Like there is no getting away from or denying the fact that he has worked very hard and put in a lot of time and dedication and sacrifice. And so it doesn't matter whether it's golf or another sport or music or anything else in life. When you have a dream and you work hard and you sacrifice for it and you get to realize it, it's a wonderful moment.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch.
No doubt. And that's kind of one of the wonderful things about sports is, we have so many of these moments throughout each year, whether it's a team or a person that you like or not. It's just kind of what makes sports so special. And when you do have these moments and that go down in history, it's kind of one of those things you'll always kind of remember when it went down. And obviously Rory winning the career Grand Slam, etching his name in golf immortality with only 5 other people that have accomplished that same goal. Speaking of accomplishing goals, obviously the end goal for Auburn was to try to win a national championship. Fell a little bit short, but can you kind of just talk about some of the key highlights of one of the best seasons Auburn basketball has ever had?
Yeah, I think it's the best season, and I don't know anybody that would argue that there's another season that's ever been better. This team was picked to do big things this year. It became evident after that, I always want to call it Cancun, but it was Maui. The Maui Invitational, where you ran through Iowa State, North Carolina, and Memphis, and never trailed against North Carolina or Memphis. It became apparent that Auburn was among, if not the best team in college basketball. And it wore the label of number one for almost 2 full months. And going into the, like Janai Broome came back, and Miles Kelly came in, and Dylan Cardwell came back, and Chad Baker-Mazara came back, and all of these guys came back to accomplish something special and to make history. And so, yeah, there are games and moments that stand out for sure. But what impressed me most, and what will forever impress me most about this team, is that it wore the pressure of advancing to the Final Four all year long. There was a big segment of the fan base, and I never subscribed to this because it's so hard to make the Final Four. I think it's harder to make the Final Four than it is the college football playoff or college World Series, not just because of the number, but because of the way you get there.
Yeah.
But it wore that pressure, and dang it, they did it. Like they won the SEC regular season championship, and they won the Maui Invitational, and they were a 1 seed. They were the number 1 overall seed, and they won the regional. They got to the Final Four for the second time in school history. There was a segment of the fan base that thought anything short of the Final Four would be a bust, and that's incredible pressure.
True, yeah.
And just like we're talking about Rory, you work, you sacrifice. You had guys who sacrificed the beginning of a professional career to come back and try to do something special at Auburn, and they did it. And that's what this team will be. They're not an underdog story. They're not an overachieving team. They did the lofty thing that people wanted them to do in spite of all the pressure that comes with it. That's the story of this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. They kind of lived it all year long, and, a lot of opportunities, they, looked like they were falling a little bit, but kind of climbed back into a lot of those games. And, that Auburn team, just the word grit will live infamously with this particular group of young men. Well, some young men anyway. Kind of keeping us updated on basketball. Any transfers that have maybe committed to Auburn that we need to know about and keep an eye on for the future?
I would look it up today. There's been activity. Like within the last 30 minutes, there was activity. I don't know if he signed, so I'm not sure what I can and can't comment on. But, yeah, within the last 30 minutes, there's been news on that front. So you guys can check that out and talk about it and go from there. But there's a lot of movement within the SEC, and anytime you add size and strength and rebounding ability and length to your team, then you've made it better, and I think Auburn did that today.
Can I mention it, Brad?
you can do whatever you want. It's your show.
That's right. It is my show, right, David Hayes? Anyway, what Brad is referring to, and he may not have signed yet, but Bruce Pearl and Auburn men's basketball team may have found its new big man in the transfer portal. Former Mississippi State forward Keyshawn Murphy announced his commitment to Auburn on Tuesday in a post on Instagram, literally about 18 minutes ago. The Mississippi State transfer forward Keyshawn Murphy is committed to Auburn. He tells On3. The 6'10 junior from Birmingham averaged 11.7 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 1.1 blocks per game this season. So if he does end up fully committing there to Auburn, obviously a great, nice addition when we're losing, obviously both Janai Broome and Dylan Cardwell. So a big void to fill there. Any other guys that have maybe come across the portal in the last couple of weeks? I thought I saw one name in there. Maybe it was just a commitment that we got from a high school player.
Well, I'm not sure about the high school ranks. I know Keyshawn Hall, the UCF transfer.
That's the one. That's the one I was thinking
about him last time.
No, I think it happened after the last time we talked. So yeah, I don't think we've hit on him yet.
And that's leading scorer in the Big 12 last year. That's all.
Not a bad transfer there, that's for sure.
Well, and that kind of goes, Ryan. This is when you go to when you're the only SEC team that's gone to 2 Final Fours in the last decade, and you have the track record of development that Bruce Pearl and this staff have, and you don't take a back seat to anybody in the NIL marketplace, and all those things are intact. You're going to compete for championships. You're going to be developed toward a professional career, and you're not going to have to sacrifice NIL to do it. I mean, that's kind of the three-headed monster right there that would make Auburn, if you are a top transfer nationally, Auburn would have to be. Why would Auburn not be among the schools that you're considering? So, look, there are a lot of elite programs, so you can't just cherry pick anybody and everybody that you want. It's always a battle, but Auburn's right there. Auburn's among the national elite. So if you're a top transfer, you're going to want to join the nationally elite programs.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't help when you got Bruce Pearl leading the charge either. Certainly so fun watching him throughout the tournament and just the passion, the dedication he has, not only to the kids, but just the whole fan base, all the things he does giving back to people, the opportunities he gives, kids and stuff like that. So it's just fun to follow the Auburn basketball program, not only on the court, but off the court as well. I know Chad Baker-Mazara has kind of hinted a little bit about potentially coming back. Do you think that's a real chance of him coming back, or do you think he's ready to take his talents to the NBA?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I would imagine that. Look, again, because of the NIL landscape that we're in, it's not as much of a sacrifice to put that professional career on hold for a year. You're going to do just fine. You're going to do just fine. So. Yeah, I think he's serious about the potential for returning, and you'll have that conversation. I don't know if he's, I don't know what his draft stock or status would be. I don't know how draftable, I don't know how teams here in the U.S. would see him. I know he could make a lot of money for a long time overseas, if not here in the U.S., but there are advantages to coming back as well. So we'll see. KD Johnson is a guy who transferred out last year and played a whole lot more this year than he would have at Auburn at his other spot. I don't know if Chad Baker would look at an option like that or would want to come back here, but he would have the opportunity. It's very real that he would have the opportunity,
Definitely. That's exciting to hear. Hopefully, maybe something comes to fruition with that. He's obviously a big part of this basketball team, especially when he kept his cool there in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, big weekend last weekend up there in the Plains. The A-Day went down. New format. How did it go? How's spring football going for Auburn so far? Anyone making a big splash and, QB competition? But how did the fans, it seemed like a great time up there, a lot of one-on-one kind of personal time with a lot of the players for the fans that attended A-Day. But kind of talk about that format and how well it was treated. I know there was a flag football game, I believe, associated with it as well.
Well, there was going to be. There wound up not being the flag football game in the stadium. That was talked about, but they wound up not doing it. They did. They advertised a change in format, and I think they did a good job of advertising that change so nobody was caught off guard. It was not a game.
Yeah.
It was a practice.
Kind of the common theme right now in spring ball, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the landscape is changing in a lot of ways, and one of them is you're not going to see traditional spring games much longer. throughout the country. I don't think they'll go away for a period of time. But so they practiced, and Jackson Arnold didn't actually practice. So you got to see a lot of Deuce Knight, the five-star freshman, and people were very excited to see that. They saw Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman put on a show. They got to see a lot of the offensive and defensive linemen be aggressive and get after it in one-on-one drills. And then what they did is they took their usual fall fan day, where you come and meet the team and get autographs and things like that, and they just shifted it to after the A-Day practice. So they had a time on the field for about an hour and a half where fans could come and enjoy the weather and meet the team and get autographs and that kind of thing. So big crowd. I'll tell you, frankly, it was a bigger crowd than I thought after they announced it was going to be a practice rather than a game, but I wasn't surprised by it. I was impressed, but not surprised. The Auburn fan base, they want to see their team. They want to support their team. They have a belief that year 3 under Hugh Freeze is going to be better than the first 2 years. And Coach Freeze talked about his improved roster after the game. It is undeniably better, really, at just about every position. And so I think they're right to be optimistic. It was a fun day, for sure, this past Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the common sentiment among Auburn faithful is this is the year that we're going to see what we've kind of been expecting to see, and I sure do hope that comes to fruition, especially with us being a partner with you guys on the Auburn Sports Radio Network. But and you can't go see practices normally, so it's sometimes you see a lot more at practice than you do in a scrimmage. So I kind of think, a lot of people are not happy about they're not doing spring games anymore, but I'm kind of a fan of being able to watch a practice in college. I mean, you can go watch NFL practices and OTAs and stuff like that, but, you can't just go show up at the practice facility and watch a practice. So I thought that was kind of cool, but, kind of seeing some behind-the-scenes stuff, so to speak. Switching over to baseball, Brad. Obviously, depending on which poll you're looking at, 6 or 8, but moving on up each week, playing great ball right now. How are they looking currently in SEC competition? I know they're going, you guys said you're going up to Jackson County. Which team are they playing again tonight?
Playing Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State.
Yep, Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks. So that's an in-state matchup. It's Jacksonville, Florida is not the only Jacksonville. Yep. There's a Jacksonville in Alabama, and so that's where we're going tonight. And, so they got that game, and then they play at number 1 Texas this weekend. But the last 2 weekends, Auburn took 2 of 3 from Alabama. Yep. The third time in the last 4 years they've won a series against Alabama. That was the top 10 team when they played them. And then last weekend they swept LSU. It was their first sweep of LSU since 1988. The year head coach Butch Thompson graduated high school. So some pretty historic things the last couple of weekends. They also played in front of the largest crowds at Plainsman Park history. Big thing. Pitching's kind of falling in line. Hitting is, get some guys who struggled early in league play who had much better weeks last week. So they're going into Austin to meet the number 1 team in the country at the best possible time relative to how they played the last 2 weekends.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Obviously, Auburn baseball is, last year they did really well leading up to the SEC, and this year they seem to start a little slow in the SEC, but now are starting to catch some serious fire. And following all the Auburn socials up there, it looked like it was a spectacular weekend for not only A-Day, but a great baseball series and a great softball series as well. The weather looked spectacular and made me want to take a trip up there because it certainly looked beautiful.
Well, come on. Look, we'd love to have you anytime. We can make that happen now. We can set that up.
Yeah, I need to. I need to bring the old kiddos up there as well. I may talk to you about that because we're trying to get a lot of stuff done currently, and that would be one of those things that I would love to make happen. Brad, last question before we let you go. What do you think of the whole Nico situation up there in Tennessee? You think that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to some of these? It's just the fact that kids are trying to potentially hold universities hostage. I just think that's a really slippery slope. But as David said earlier in the show, kind of been created by the landscape of what's going on right now in college football.
Yeah, I think it could have been had Tennessee not done what they did. I think
absolutely.
Tennessee had given in. It was and I actually talked about this last week on Friday on Village Vice. People can go watch that show on YouTube, on the Barn Auburn YouTube channel. Zach Blackerby and I discussed this. If Tennessee had given in then it would have been floodgates. This week would have been the most ridiculous week because the transfer portal opens, I guess, tomorrow. The spring portal opens. So it would have been a mad rush for guys trying to make new deals and trying to leverage their position and their value when they've already negotiated NIL arrangements at their current place. I mean, that's happening. Everybody right now, most of these guys anyway that aren't already in the portal, they already have negotiated understandings and negotiated deals. So until they're actually signing contracts like professional players, you're going to have some try this, but I think actually Tennessee's decision to move on and say, go ahead, go test the market. If that's all you're looking for, if you believe your name is above the brand of the school that you signed with, then go for it. I think that slowed some of that activity and began the process of giving a little bit of leverage back to the schools. See, we went from players having no leverage to players having 100% of the leverage, and now Tennessee made the decision or Josh Heupel in Tennessee made the decision to say, no, we're going to take a little bit of that back. And
put it back in the pool.
I think that's what you've seen, and he may go somewhere and get twice what he was going to get at Tennessee, but I really, frankly, personally like what Tennessee did because no player is above the brand, and the player's name, image, and likeness value has way more to do with the school for which he plays than typically a player gets credit. Nico Iamaleava as the Tennessee quarterback is more valuable than Nico Iamaleava as the Sam Houston quarterback, for example.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
To try to divorce yourself from the school when you assess your own likeness and name and image and likeness value just isn't logical. And it was good to see Tennessee recognize that and draw a little bit of a line in the sand.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, if they wouldn't have done that, a whole new Pandora's box would have been opened up, and it would have been an absolute wild, wild west.
It would have been an avalanche. I'm telling you, yesterday, today, and tomorrow would have been an absolute avalanche of guys holding up their schools for new deals. And wouldn't have been good for the sport, wouldn't have been good for the teams, wouldn't have been good for the players, quite frankly, in the long run.
Absolutely. So kudos to Tennessee for taking a stand and Josh Heupel for making, and kudos to Dan Lanning on kind of, informing, Josh Heupel about that Nico was sniffing around as well. So, but Brad, we appreciate you as always. Safe travels up there to Jacksonville State, and hopefully Auburn can get a big dub tonight. We appreciate you jumping on as always.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks very much. War Eagle to the Auburn fans on the coast.
There you go, War Eagle. That's Brad Law with the Auburn Sports Network. We appreciate him coming on. Always great to talk to him. A lot of good insight there on what's going on at Auburn. Hopefully a big football season coming up here in the fall. Final segment coming up next. You guys listen to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
The quest to regain the division crown starts now. So be here for every huge moment of the Braves 2025 season.
Swung on, lifted towards center field. That might get down. Diving catch and caught by Michael Harris.
Tonight, the Braves are back on the road, this time for an interleague battle with the Tampa Bay Rays, live from Steinbrenner Field in Tampa.
Braves coverage coming up at 6 tonight on ESPN Northwest Florida. Introducing Water Clear Pools, the home of the 10-week pool guarantee. We guarantee custom pool completion from permit to your first swim in 10 weeks or less. Water Clear Pools is the premier pool builder for the Margaritaville development on Highway 79. Free quotes and custom pools anywhere in Northwest Florida. Call now, 850-835-4177, or see our website, waterclearpool.com. Licensed and insured. License number CPC 1459723.
Introducing Southern Breeze Primary Care. With 45 years of experience, owners Holly Gay and Lisa King bring warm, friendly care, Southern charm, and a family vibe. They are the pros in youth sports, physicals, general health care, BioT hormone replacement therapy, certified DOT exams, and Coast Guard physicals. Southern Breeze, 107 West 19th Street, Suite B, 850-248-8002. Walk-ins are welcome and insurance is accepted but not required. Southern Breeze offers breezy solutions for your healthcare needs.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Spreads, picks, and parlays. Get the breaking news, insider angles, and expertise so you can run your game.
I told y'all to run that.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. Larry Brown, give us a call. 850-215-6290. You are officially on the clock for the ESPN Northwest Florida Race to Talladega. Your qualifying time will be how fast you get back to us. Again, 850-215-6290. Larry Brown, give us a call. While we're waiting for Larry to give us a call, just going to remind everybody that your Atlanta Braves trying to get another win tonight against the Toronto Blue Jays. That'll start right after the afternoon underdogs with coverage briefly as a first pitch gets going at 6:07. They got the big 8-4 win behind 2 home runs from Austin Riley yesterday. Hopefully they can do it again and get ever so closer to getting to 500 as we, I think we're 5-11 now, something like that, maybe 6-11. That might be optimistic, thinking 6-11. I think
5-11.
I think that's what it is too. Yeah. Oh, just got that notification that Brad had mentioned in the last segment with the Mississippi State transfer. So
there you go.
Early, we were first to report that here on ESPN Northwest Florida. But again, Braves, Blue Jays, and then coming up this weekend, we got a series at home against the Minnesota Twins. Wonder if anybody from down here is going to check that out. This is a beautiful time of year for baseball. It's not too hot yet. Obviously, you could certainly be in the sun, but not as bad as trying to go to a June or July baseball game. But that'll be all on ESPN Northwest Florida. Friday, 6 p.m. coverage starts. First pitch at 6:15. Same thing on Saturday, except it starts at 5 p.m. with your coverage. First pitch also at 6:15. And then Sunday, little midday matinee, 11:20 a.m. coverage starts. First pitch at 12:35. Again, that's against the Minnesota Twins. Your Atlanta Braves right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sponsored locally by Bill Bird Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and Hometown Towing. It's also sponsored locally by Bestway Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control. Go Bravos. Hopefully they can get a big win coming up tonight. Did we hear from Larry? Did you give us a call? Man, everybody's like scared or intimidated or something. I don't know.
We're busy.
We're busy, but if you're going to take the time to text in, all you got to do is listen for 2 minutes. If they call your name, give us a call. If they don't, you don't have to listen anymore.
There you go.
So,
and if you start listening at 12:40, there's a lot of times where we'll be taking that break at 12:40.
Yeah.
So if you listen from, give it a few minutes. There's a reason we tell you 12:40. We want you to hang on the line for a little bit and give us some listenership.
Ready, absolutely. Did want to mention something. We got the big okay yesterday from AFV. That's America's Funniest Home Videos. Back in our first middle school soccer game of this season, we were playing North Bay Haven, and Ryan took a one kick to the face, and then shortly after that took another kick to the face, and it was really funny. She was okay. If she wasn't okay, it wouldn't have been as funny. But we did get the email yesterday from America's Funniest Home Videos that video will be airing this upcoming Sunday at 6 p.m. here in the local time area on ABC, and it'll also be on Hulu streaming as well. She gets a t-shirt too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, right?
Yeah, been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
I was telling my mom about that yesterday. We went to the opposite of Rich Folks for some lunch.
Yes, yeah. Did you get your pork chops?
Oh, actually, I went country fried steak.
Ah, nice.
Country fried steak,
Never a bad
turnip
choice.
greens, fried okra, and a breadstick, and a good old sweet tea with a little lemon in there as well. But I was telling her about the fact, she was like, oh, they still do that? I was like, yeah.
It's a lot easier to submit videos nowadays. Right. You don't have to rip it off the big VHS tape and send it in. So I appreciate all the University Academy parents who signed the waivers for their kids. And, of course, Bayhaven Charter Academy was fantastic as well. We got in touch with their coach. He sent it out to the parents, and they all got that done. Because anybody in the video has to sign a waiver to be on TV. So.
Or they blurred their face out, right?
Or they blurred their face. But, we want to give everybody some love. So, but hopefully it'll be cool. And we've sent in other videos to AFV, but this is the first time we've ever heard back and got a positive result out of it. So, again, that's coming up on Sunday. It's if you follow me on social media or my wife on social media, you've probably already seen the video, but it'd be cool to see it on TV. I guess they let you know if you make it to the thing ahead of time, too, so I don't think we're to the finals or whatever you want to call it. But be funny nonetheless. It'd be funny to see how the audience fake laughs towards that video. It always looks like they're got the laugh signs that come on, like laugh now. I don't know if it's actual organic laughing or not, but we got a lot of baseball going on right now as our district tournaments are underway with the state tournaments following that. Arnold had a game last night against Godby. Arnold was the number 1 seed in the district. They beat Godby 13-3. Wakulla and Rickards play tonight with the district championship coming up this Thursday, April 17th at 7 p.m. Again, the winner of Wakulla and Rickards will take on Arnold in the 4A District 2 tournament. Moving over there to Bozeman, they played their 2A District 1 game last night against Mariana, and it was a burner as Bozeman escaped with the win 5-4. They move on to play in the championship tomorrow, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. They take on Pensacola Catholic, who beat Freeport 7-0 in their district semifinal game. Again, the championship game tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Over on the 5A District 2, you have Mosley, the number 2 seed. They'll be playing Childs coming up tomorrow at 6 p.m. Lincoln and Leon play tonight at 6 p.m. as well. Obviously, winner of those 2 games will move on to the district championship game on Thursday, the 17th at 6 p.m. If Leon can beat Lincoln and Mosley beat Childs, Mosley would host that district championship game. Also got Bay taking on Gadsden County coming up tonight in the 3A District 2 tournament semifinal game. That'll be at 6 p.m. Rutherford will be taking on North Bayhaven Academy in the other semifinal of the 3A District 2 championship game coming up this Thursday at 6 p.m. Winner of those 2 games. South Walton, this must have all transpired prior to the 5th inning where the run rule can happen. South Walton, number 1 seed in District 3A, District 1 in the 3A classification, beat Pensacola 24-1. West Florida beat Walton 8-1. South Walton will take on West Florida on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for the district championship.
Yikes, 24-1.
I'm going to go out there and say South Walton's going to beat West Florida for that district championship.
I think there's a high probability there. Again, South Walton has a starting rotation of 5 pitchers who are all heading to Division I baseball.
And
so,
not just like lower end Division I, high end, big time Division I teams. And, pitching can make a big difference. Obviously, the bats were hot last night, too. Yeah. Scoring 24 runs.
Hard to be stopped when the bats are working and you can't score any runs on your opponent.
Yeah, that's a winning combination, I would certainly say. But again, softball districts will be getting underway here, I believe, next week. A couple more regular season games coming up. And, of course, you could always listen to Banji Bomadello on the Afternoon Underdogs. He's on Wednesday?
Wednesdays at 4:20.
I've almost got your stuff down. How'd it go with RJ yesterday around the track?
Yeah, fun, man. As always, he's just a wealth of knowledge. Had some good questions for him, and we were just talking about some of the incidents that happened there at Bristol. And then, obviously, Kyle Larson leading 411 out of 500 laps was very impressive. Denny Hamlin finishing second, looking to go for a 3-peat. They're actually going to be off this Sunday for the Cup Series. There will still be a Craftsman Truck Series and a Xfinity Series race. They're going to be at Rockingham. So no Cup Series race, and then we'll get back to it after Easter.
Ooh, after Easter. Yeah, Easter Sunday coming up this Sunday.
Yeah, sure.
That'll certainly, we got a 7-on-7 premiere but it's just Saturday, so we're not playing both days. Obviously, Easter takes precedent when it comes to sporting events. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on all the district tournaments. They'll be flowing right into the regional state championships, and hopefully maybe we'll see a couple teams from our listening area make it to wherever they play the state finals. I don't know that one off the top of my head, but we'll keep you updated on all that action, all the softball action will be getting underway here shortly. David Hayes, I'm going to ask you about tonight's games. What do you think? First, we start with the Hawks versus the Magic. Winner of that game automatically gets the number 7 seed. Currently, Orlando is a 5.5-point favorite. Over-under in that one, 219.5.
I like Orlando from the team. From the team perspective, I think Trae Young's obviously a dog in and of himself, but I like Orlando tonight. Covering the 5.5, though, we're talking. It's playoffs right now.
It literally.
So I think it'll be a closer game, but I would take my Orlando to cover the 5.5.
I like it. All right, Battle of the Bets tonight. If you guys have been if you bet on Hard Rock and you've been paying attention, every day they have a different Battle of the Bets. And if you end up winning that, if you bet it, it's usually pretty decent odds as well. Like tonight is over or under. This is for the the Hawks and the Magic coming up, which is the game we were just talking about. Do you like each team to score 114 or more, or 103 or fewer? I like the over 114 at plus 650.
I like the under playoff basketball. Defense tightens up. Yeah, give me both teams underneath 100.
Okay, 103.
I know 103.
Okay,
yeah,
under
but
100.
I'll say Orlando. Well, see, that's where it's tough because
I wish they did. I mean, I know why they don't, but I wish they did it the same number.
What is the total? Do you have that total in front of you?
219.5.
Oh, so they're expected to go over. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the under there.
I like it.
Both teams under 103.
Those are fun. If you do have a Hard Rock account, make sure you pay attention to those. All you got to do is bet $1, and if you hit that, obviously you win whatever the odds are. But you also get a bonus bet, and they range anywhere from $20 to $60. It just depends. And right now they're doing 1,030,000 every day in total bonus bets to the people that get it right. So the less people that get it right, the more bonus bet you get. So again, we are a partner here with Hard Rock Bets on ESPN Northwest Florida. So make sure you're diving in to those Battle of the Bets. It's not free money, but it's an opportunity to win some money that you can go on and do some great stuff with. Other game coming up tonight, the Memphis Grizzlies at the Golden State Warriors. A little bigger spread than this one, 7.5 for the Golden State Warriors. Over under 227.5. So they're expecting a higher scoring game. And of course, I think when we're talking to Doc A earlier, the big names for the Warriors have to show up tonight.
Yeah.
It would be a shame to lose this game and then have to play another game, but hopefully Golden State, I've always kind of liked them. That's the first NBA game I ever been to.
Yeah.
It's back in like 1989-90 with the Golden State Warriors. I think they were playing the Orlando Magic, actually, because I'm trying to remember. I think Shaq was involved in that. I can't remember.
Maybe so, yeah.
I was like 4 or 5 years old, but I do remember. I remember being very high up in the stadium, and I remember the national anthem being pretty cool as well. But what do you think, David? Memphis or Golden State?
Give me Golden State to win with the over-under being at 227.5. Do I like 114, 113? I think defense tightens up here. Jimmy Butler, they can become highly defensive right there. Memphis, where are they at as a team right now without having their coach? Have they been playing better? Give me Golden State. Give me the under again.
All right. I like it. There you go. You guys have been listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be back tomorrow. We got Keith Fleming joining us tomorrow. And, of course, the afternoon underdogs coming up tonight, followed by your Atlanta Braves trying to get another win over those Toronto Blue Jays. We'll see you guys tomorrow.